Welcome to Super Showdowns, the ultimate destination for epic battles and legendary showdowns. Join us as we put iconic superheroes, villains, and mythological figures against each other in thrilling matches of strength, strategy, and skill. The world had grown quiet, too quiet. Not the quiet of peace, but the ominous calm before two unstoppable forces collided. In the arid silence of New Mexico's White Sands, a remote military base buzzed with alarms. Scientists scrambled across, control rooms, monitoring seismic tremors and electromagnetic disruptions that pulsed from a rift torn into the sky. Lightning streaked across a swirling black vortex above the desert, ripping apart clouds with unnatural fury. Then he came through. Doomsday. His body, a twisted monument of bone protrusions and grey flesh, crashed into the sand like a meteor. The desert shook for miles. The monstrosity that once killed Superman and brought entire civilizations to ruin rose with a guttural growl that split the air. His eyes, glowing embers of relentless hatred, scanned the horizon. He wasn't here by accident. He was summoned. Elsewhere in the heart of Gamma Base, General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross stared at the incoming data feeds. The dimensional rupture, the seismic shockwaves, the radiation signatures. It was a visitor, here from another world, something not even SHIELD had seen before. Ross didn't hesitate. He marched into the Gamma chamber and hit the override. Green light washed over him as systems activated, unlocking the power buried deep in his cells. Muscles swelled, his skin darkened to a deep crimson, and raw fury surged through every fiber of his being. Red Hulk had entered the battlefield. Across the desert, Doomsday stomped toward civilization, his every step a quake. Tanks rolled to intercept, fighter jets screamed overhead. They were all torn apart within seconds, metal crunched like paper, soldiers scattered like leaves in a storm. Doomsday didn't kill because he needed to. He killed because it was all he knew. The ground quaked again. A shockwave ripped across the sands, sending a burst of red heat into the air. A massive figure landed in front of Doomsday, the impact forming a crater beneath his feet. Red Hulk stood tall, fists clenched, radiating thermal energy that turned sand to glass beneath him. "You want a war?" Ross growled, flames flickering off. His back. "You've just enlisted." Doomsday didn't answer. He roared and charged, arms out like battering rams. Red Hulk met him halfway. The two collided with the force of a nuclear detonation. Dust clouds engulfed the battlefield as two monsters exchanged blows that cracked the very crust of the earth. Doomsday swung first. His spiked fist smashed into Red Hulk's jaw, sending him flying into a rock face. But before the dust could settle, Red Hulk erupted from the debris with a trail of molten stone behind him. His punch sent Doomsday soaring across the desert. This was no ordinary Hulk. Ross was calculating, a tactician even in his rage. He didn't waste energy with wild swings. He targeted joints, soft spots, pressure points. But Doomsday wasn't just muscle. He was evolution weaponized. Each injury only made him more dangerous. Red Hulk drove his knee into Doomsday's ribs, the sound of cracking bone echoing across the desert. But then...
Hey you! Don't just watch. Subscribe, please.
The impossible happened. Doomsday smiled. With a bone spike, he slashed across Red Hulk's chest, drawing gamma-infused blood. Red Hulk roared in pain, but his heat output surged, even higher, turning his body into a living furnace. The temperature soared past 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Doomsday charged again, but this time, Red Hulk caught him. "I've handled cosmic forces," he snarled. "I'm not afraid of a bone-faced brute." He hoisted Doomsday into the air and slammed him into the earth with a blast that sent shockwaves for miles. The sand erupted into a mushroom cloud. Lava began bubbling from cracks that opened beneath them. But Doomsday was not down. He rose, body smoldering, bones regenerating rapidly. Red Hulk's heat had seared his skin, but already his body was adapting. Worse, he was getting faster. Ross's tactical mind raced. He'd only seen one other being adapt like this, maybe Hulk himself. But even Hulk could be knocked unconscious or calmed down. This creature, he was born to resist death. Miles away, satellites caught the battle in real time. World leaders watched in horror as the monsters carved paths through the terrain. And somewhere in a SHIELD bunker, a single phrase flashed across the screen. Level 10 threat detected. Global contingency required. Meanwhile, Red Hulk leapt into the sky and came down with a meteor punch aimed directly at Doomsday's skull. It connected, but Doomsday didn't fall. Instead, he caught Red Hulk's fist midair, digging his heels into the earth, and hurled him over the horizon. Ross crashed through a mountain and landed in a dry riverbed, blood leaking from his mouth. Okay, he coughed. Round 2, his heat spiked even higher, a blazing aura coating his body. He absorbed the gamma radiation in the air, fueling himself, transforming into a walking inferno. As Doomsday approached the battered Red Hulk, the beast paused. For the first time in the fight, he seemed cautious, because now Red Hulk wasn't just angry. He was angrier than ever, and when Red Hulk gets angry, he gets stronger. The desert was no longer a desert. It was a war zone, cracked earth, scorched sky, and the remains of mountains leveled by sheer force. Fires burned where trees once stood, rivers turned to steam, and satellites above blinked out one after another from the fallout of the battle below. In the middle of the destruction stood two figures, monsters born of wrath, of science, of hatred. Red Hulk, burning like a dying sun, and Doomsday, the living Extinction, whose body continued to mutate with every punch he took. Red Hulk wiped the blood from his mouth and ignited the very air around him. His body had reached critical thermal, a mass over 5,000 degrees and climbing. His every breath melted the sand into rivers of glowing glass. He snarled. "You don't know pain," Ross spat. "I've buried friends, fought gods, lost everything. You're just a walking corpse." Doomsday tilted his head and then roared, louder than any jet engine. His voice cracked stone and thundered across state lines. His body began changing. Again, where Red Hulk's heat had burned him before, new plating of blackened, heat-resistant bone was forming. His chest, once soft under the spikes, now resembled a volcanic shell. Red Hulk charged, a living missile, and slammed into Doomsday. With all his fury, the shockwave shattered windows across El Paso. Doomsday staggered. Ross didn't let up. He rained down punches, each one exploding like artillery. Bam, bam, bam. He grabbed Doomsday's head and drove his knee into it with a thunderous crack. "Fall," he screamed, and for a moment, Doomsday did. He dropped to one knee. But that was not a victory. It was an evolution. With a lightning-quick move, Doomsday's spine extended, a bony spear impaling Red Hulk's side. Ross roared in pain and stumbled, but swung a flaming elbow into Doomsday's throat. Doomsday didn't even flinch. He wrapped a spiked arm around Ross's neck and lifted him into the air. Red Hulk's body erupted in superheated radiation, enough to melt steel. He grabbed Doomsday's arm and tore it off at the elbow, landing on his knees with a coughing grunt. But as he looked up, Doomsday was already regenerating, the arm growing back with thicker, denser spikes. The beast lunged again, this time red. Hulk went for his trump card. He absorbed the entire heat of the battlefield, drawing in the gamma radiation from the ground, the fire, the sky. His body turned white-hot, glowing like a solar flare. In one final desperate strike, Red Hulk launched into the sky and came down in a meteor-style dive, aiming straight for Doomsday's skull. The explosion was colossal. It registered on seismic charts as a 9.3 magnitude quake. A column of flame reached the stratosphere. For miles, nothing but silence followed. The earth held its breath, and then out of the molten crater, Doomsday stood, burned, cracked, but standing. Red Hulk lay on his knees, coughing blood. His body was shutting down. The heat he had absorbed had pushed him too far, cells collapsing under. Pressure. His regeneration wasn't enough. He looked up just as Doomsday punched him across the battlefield, sending him tumbling for hundreds of meters, carving a trench through the earth. Ross tried to stand. His legs wobbled, his vision blurred. Doomsday marched forward step by step, unstoppable, unforgiving, undying. Red Hulk threw one last punch, slow, heavy, drained. Doomsday caught it. He crushed Ross's hand in his grip, raised him into the air, and slammed him down on a jagged rock formation, impaling him through the chest. Ross gasped, his fury flickering into silence. There was no scream, only the hiss of extinguished flame. Doomsday let go, letting the Red Hulk's smoldering body fall limp against the ruined earth. For the first time in hours, the desert was quiet. Again. The winds returned, the fires died, and above, the rift in the sky began to close, but not before transmitting one last image back to Doomsday's world. A shot of the defeated Red Hulk, proof that even the monsters of this earth could. While Doomsday turned toward the crater's edge, he wasn't done, he was never done, because the monster that won't die keeps walking.